Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival. From one of my all-time favorite albums right there is the title track. It's Allied Forces from Triumph here on Rock and Metal Revival. And we want to welcome back to the show, friend of the show, bassist from Triumph, Mr. Mike Levine. Welcome back to Rock and Metal Revival, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Red. Always a pleasure.
Mike, it kind of made me feel good, and on the other hand, it kind of aged me a little bit when they said 40th anniversary of Allied Forces, and I'm like, it can't be that long. I listen to that album on a weekly basis.
I know. It's like it shocks the heck out of me. I just go, it's really been 40 years since that record came out. Wow. Amazing.
You know, I go back to when I became a Triumph fan back in '79, and when Allied Forces was released was actually the first time that I actually got to see you guys live. I got to see you at the World Series of Rock at County Stadium in Milwaukee. And, I mean, you guys blew my mind, and Allied Forces was such a big album for me at that time. Did you guys realize when you recorded that album that did you have any inkling that 40 years later people are still going to be into Allied Forces?
It's one of those things where you don't really think about it. You're thinking about, is it good enough? Will the fans like it? Radio play it? Can we sell concert tickets? All that stuff. So you don't think about 40 years on. You think maybe a couple of years ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll tell you what, we're really proud of the fact that the record, a lot of our music has legs and has lasted a long time. It's still getting new fans, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. And this box set is like second to none. I remember when I first got the press release of what was all in it, I'm like, boy, they went all the way to the top with this one. I can't believe some of the things that are in this box. This is, if you're a Triumph fan, you've got to have this.
Yeah, the guy that put it all together, a gentleman named Andy Curran, who's a bass player, still a bass player, in a band called Coney Hatch.
Okay.
A Canadian band. But after that incarnation of his life, he worked for Anthem Records, which was Rush's label, and put together all their box sets that they did. So, he got the call to do ours, and he got dirty. I'll tell you what, he got really dirty looking for stuff. He climbed up in the attic above Metalworks Studios and unearthed all this stuff. It was unbelievable. So without him, it wouldn't be anywhere close to what it is. I give him all the kudos for it. We just said, yes, anything you wanted, we just said, yes, use it, do it. You're the boss.
It is unbelievable what's in this box set. I'm running down through the list of things. You got a picture disc of the original Allied Forces studio album. You've got a 2LP live in Cleveland in 1981. Now, nobody's really heard that before this box set, right?
Yeah, pretty much so, yep.
You got the Tribute 2021 version of Allied Forces and Magic Power live from Ottawa, 82. And a Canadian exclusive, you've got the Maple Leafs Garden poster in there. You've got a 24-page booklet. You've got a 40th anniversary Allied Forces retro tour book. I actually have my tour book from that tour.
Yep.
40th anniversary Allied Forces retro tour poster, retro tour pass, Rick's 3 picks, and then you've got handwritten lyrics. I mean, you didn't forget really anything in there.
I don't know. There's like we could have loaded it up with more stuff, but it would never ship. It cost $100 to ship the box.
It is amazing, and I see that you were named actually the ambassadors for Record Store Day in Canada. That's a pretty cool honor.
Yeah, it was actually when they made the request. We went, you know what? It's like we got on the phone and said, hey, anybody really wanted to be an ambassador in their life? And we all said, sure. We've never been ambassadors. Let's give it a shot, see what it's like.
Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, the thing I love about this is it keeps bands like you guys, who are one of my favorite all-time bands, it keeps you out, and like new generations are catching on to Triumph music, and I think that's amazing. I think it's outstanding that there's a new generation of Triumph fans out there.
Yeah, and it's really cool that way, and also I'm so happy vinyl has been making the comeback it has been making, because it's such a cool format. It's by far the best for my 10 cents.
Well,
I'll tell you, it's just.
it's such a deeper, richer sound. What was it? Was it last year, the year before? Vinyl outsold CDs, and I was like, yes, because I'm one of those guys. I like to hold on to something. I like to look at the artwork and read the liner notes and read the lyrics. I missed that when everything went to downloads and things like that. I thought that was really lacking in the music business.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like it's, a good vinyl record is sonically superior to anything. If you've got, a good cartridge and a good turntable and good gear to play it through, there is nothing like it. It's warm. It's fuzzy. It's huge. It's a lot bigger sound than like a CD or an MP3 file.
Mike, going back to Allied Forces, when that album came out, I mean, arena rock was big. I mean, bands were playing like stadiums and big outdoor festivals. I mean, you guys played the biggest festival, the US Festival '82, which I think personally probably gave Allied Forces the real kick for U.S. audiences, don't you think?
Well, I got to correct you here, Red, because it was actually, we played the '83 US Festival.
'83 US Festival. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Heavy Metal Sunday. It was already. It was so huge. It was frightening. Going to. We flew in on a helicopter because you couldn't drive into the site, and it was like the people. It was like unbelievable. We just looked at each other and went, "Wow, are we in trouble here or what?" How many people are there? It's frightening.
Well, going back and watching the videos, you guys look like you're having a good time, but that did have to be terrifying, just seeing that just people as far as you could see. And did you get any kind of feedback from the audience? Because it had to be loud.
Yeah, it was a weird experience because really, for me personally, I had a hard time for the first couple of songs just to get a groove going.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you were so far from anybody. Like the stage was set, your stage was 20 feet high or however high it was, and there was probably 100 feet to the nearest fan, right? And then you look out and there's endless fans. You can't see the end of the fans. Then you realize there's like 20 cameras following you around. So you go, no, it's a TV show. Everybody's watching on screens. So, once you got used to it and you were playing to the cameras, you weren't playing to the crowd, so to speak.
That had to be strange. I marveled at how in Europe they do all these big, huge festivals year after year after year, and I'm thinking, what happened to that? Why didn't that ever catch on here? But it did for one day. I'll tell you that out there that day. And I don't know if I'd want to. I don't know, as a band, I don't know if that would be the kind of thing I'd want to play every year. And as a fan, I don't know if I'd want to be half a mile back from my favorite band.
Yeah. There's something kind of impersonal about the shows that are that big. Like it's really hard to make the connection from the fan to the band and from the band to the fan. It's just you got to go out there and work hard. It's like twice as hard as playing an arena. But we were hot that day. We played really well.
Oh, you guys killed it that day. That was an amazing performance. The last time we had you on the show, Mike, we were talking about the documentary. Now, right when the last time you were here, you had just done the Fan Fest, and we were talking about the documentary. Where does that stand? I mean, I haven't heard much about that. I know it's still been in work. Is it is it done? Are we just waiting for a release date?
It's almost finished. It's been in post-production now. Like COVID's really hung it up because the editor and his group, they couldn't work in their normal places. They were working from home. So the editor would have to upload a cut so the director could look at it, and then they get on the phone, and then uploading a film takes a long time. So, everything got bogged down. But we're in the final throes. I went to, just last week, the final audio mix was not laid in yet, but I got to listen to it, and along with the film behind it. So that's got to get laid in, and a few picture fixes have to be done, and then it's done. It'll be finished, which is like fabulous. So we're projecting a couple of weeks. It should be all done, complete, put to bed. And then we'll see when it comes out.
Then we'll see when it comes out. Mike, it's the career of Triumph and the how the music has just lived on and lived on and lived on. I mean, like with that fan fest you guys did up in Canada, and even the continual interest in Triumph. It has to be a real good feeling that your music has lived on and stood the test of time.
Yeah, it's I think we touched on it a little bit earlier, but it's one of those things where you just go. It's like we became part of the soundtrack of people's lives, and and that's such a special honor, that you just want to keep it going, because if there's 100 people that want something from the band, then so be it. But when it's in the thousands or tens of thousands, it's like you got to figure out how to keep everybody happy while you can.
A friend of mine, he's a big Triumph fan like I am, and he wanted me to ask, he knew I was talking to you today, and he goes, ask Mike about how Sebastian Bach fits into Triumph history, how he fits into that. And I went to him, I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, no, ask him. And so here I am. I have no idea what he means about how Sebastian Bach fits in with Triumph.
Well, Sebastian's a Canadian boy.
Uh-huh.
And when was it? It was an award show where I think we got like the Q107, which was the big rock station here in Toronto. They had an awards, a rock awards, Toronto Rock Awards or something. We got honored and we played, but we had guests, and Sebastian, came up and sang "Rock and Roll Machine," and so. But he's just one of those guys that was always around. He's psychotic, but crazy and wonderful all at the same time. And he's got a big part in the film, actually. So it's cool. He opens the film.
Outstanding. I had, like he said, you have to ask him. I said, well, tell me why. He goes, no, let Mike explain it to you. And I'm like, okay. Well, I tell you, Mike, it's always a pleasure to have you on Rock and Metal Revival. And I want to go back once again to Allied Forces. And I played my favorite song coming into the interview, which is Allied Forces. What song off that, is the one you're the most proud of?
Oh, God. That's such a tough question. But if I had to, vote, I'd vote Fight the Good Fight.
What a great song. Mike Levine, it is a pleasure talking to you. Anytime you come on this show, I look forward to having you on again, and I look forward to somehow getting my hands on that box set, and looking forward to that documentary coming out. We're going to play Fight the Good Fight from Triumph. Mike Levine, you are always welcome back on Rock and Metal Revival.
Thanks, Red. Anytime you'll have me, I'll be there.